Hey, what's up? Welcome to Movie Dumpster Season 4, Episode 10. Today we're talking about Son of Dracula from 1972 or 4? We'll talk. We'll get into it. We'll talk about it. Directed by Freddie Francis. I'm Joel Escola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
And I'm Newt Wallen.
Welcome to the Dumpster. Yeah, so we got special guest Newt Wallen with us today. How you doing, man?
Hey, how are you guys today?
Not bad.
Doing pretty good.
Watched a fucking acid trip of a movie, that's for sure.
I said the same thing, and my girlfriend goes, "You've never had acid, so how would you know?" I said, "Well, I guess you got me there."
Acid and like mushrooms aren't like this, right? These are the thoughts that you might have, but not necessarily experiences per se.
Okay.
No, the production value is much better than drugs.
Yeah, an eighth of mushrooms is much better production value. So we're talking Son of Dracula today. But before we get into that, Newt, do you want to tell the listeners a little bit about yourself, what you got cooking?
I work for Screenwave Media. You can find me on Hack the Movies, which is with that guy who's less talented me than Tony.
But he's very famous, I heard.
He says that he's very famous. Yes, he does. He tells anyone who will listen to him that he's very famous. You guys have both been on the show. Sean, I see you every day.
Yes.
Talking about tapes, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So we do talking about tapes, and then I have a bunch of film projects in the works, and Joe, you've worked on a ton of stuff with me. So, we have a little incestuous relationship of us here. We all work on each other's stuff. And
oh, yeah.
Yeah. This is the first time I get to be on Movie Dumpster, though.
It's quite a occasion as well.
We're talking about such a famous movie that everyone's seen.
This is going to get so many hits. You have no idea. Everybody's going to listen to this fucking episode.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I want to talk a little bit about the production of this movie before we get into the nitty-gritty of it. So the Beatles break up in 1970.
Mm-hmm.
And, Paul McCartney has a lucrative career. George Harrison has a lucrative career. John Lennon has a lucrative career.
I see where you're going with this.
And, Ringo Starr's kind of just like, what am I going to do?
And you're underscoring his work on The Shining Thomas.
Oh, right. Well, we see the Mr. Conductor, right?
Yeah, which I will not stand by on I'll leave this fucking show. I don't even care. Like, you guys downplay the Shiny Time Station. Like,
was that before or after George Carlin?
That was, I want to say it was after.
Was it? I can only remember George Carlin as Mr. Conductor when I was a kid.
I remember babysitting like somebody in like 1997, and he was on it. So I don't know.
Oh, maybe it was like a ladder thing. I don't know.
Well, I would have to imagine it was probably after, because remember Carlin, when he went through that phase where he was like, yeah, I'm not going to be straight-laced anymore. I would find it hard to believe he was doing that show anymore.
Well,
pretty unstraight-laced, though. You're like, yo, like, I'm going to do all this crazy stuff, but I'm also going to do the Shiny Time Station, because that's,
right.
You wouldn't expect that,
I think, but George Carlin was always a dirty comedian, like forever.
What? Yeah.
No. Well, I mean, forever in the context of our lives, but I've read about it before where in the beginning of his career, he was this like really like I said, squeaky clean guy that wore like a suit and he told really clean jokes. And then one day he was like, I don't want to be this guy. Like, he was making good money, but he changed his whole act, and then he's pretty much what we know him as the rest of his career, and that's what got him superstardom.
So I guess that was like his, like, when Garth Brooks became Chris Gaines, like, he didn't want to do that stuff anymore. Yeah.
Right.
But that must have been like the 60s, right? Or the 70s?
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm saying our whole life and then some.
Yeah, because I remember watching the show like in the 90s as a young lad.
Oh, sure.
And then wasn't Alec Baldwin in the movie?
There was a movie?
They made a movie and Alec Baldwin played that character.
Should have been Daniel Baldwin.
Yeah, right? Imagine just Daniel. He's just fucking dolphin diving around.
Welcome to Shining Time Station, bitch.
Unless it was when he became all, like, super religious.
Oh, that's Steven. That's Steven.
Oh, Stephen Baldwin. Okay.
Yeah, there was a video Vic Berger put out years ago of him like jamming out to Evanescence's "Wake Me Up Inside,"
Oh my God.
doing like Bible, like praying and it's a weird video. Look it up.
Every time I hear that song, obviously it was in Daredevil, but I used to have this little theater in Pittman, New Jersey, which is this like super religious town, and the town like closes at 7 o'clock. Like they put the Pop-O-Matic dome over it, like the
Sure, yeah.
So if you needed anything, like you needed gas or something like that, you had to get it like way ahead of time. So there used to be a gas station just outside of town, and I'm filling up, and this like old man was like moving to that song like it was his favorite song in the world. And I felt bad because I've never been that as excited about anything as that old man was about Evanescence's Bring Me to Life. And I was like, good for him.
Oh man.
Yeah, living his best life.
Getting some gas, fucking hitting the groove, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the Beatles break up. Everybody goes and does their thing, and Ringo's like, "Hey, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do some movies. What do you think?" And he does. He makes a fucking he directs some shit. He directs like a T-Rex documentary or some shit. Or he shoots like a concert or something.
Oh, is that why they play T-Rex in the beginning?
Yeah, but like T-Rex is only in this movie for like a second.
Yeah. A lot of these guys are just in the movie for a second.
Yeah. Like he called in everybody to do a fucking favor.
But imagine that, like, imagine if a movie came out today that has all of the most like famous musicians just doing favors for each other, but no one knew the movie existed.
Right. I was having the same thought earlier, Newt.
It would be impossible.
Yeah, like Beyonce is like, hey, Billie Eilish and some other people, I'm gonna make a movie where I'm playing the queen of the vampires, and you guys are gonna all come be in it. Everybody in the world would talk about that, even if it was as bad as this movie. But I didn't know this movie existed until 2011. But I knew this soundtrack when I was a kid.
Sure. I had never heard of it or heard about the soundtrack, and you told me about it. I was like, holy shit, man, we got to talk about this. I actually picked up the soundtrack, which is all. We'll get to it in a second, but yeah. So Ringo fucking teams up with Harry Nilsson. Now the Beatles just break up. Harry Nilsson is just breaking out. I think he's got two like big albums. His second album had just came out. And for whatever reasons, Ringo's just like, okay, this is gonna be our new movie that we're gonna make. We're gonna make a fucking rock and roll Dracula movie, even though he's not Dracula, he's the son of Dracula.
Count Downe.
Count Downe. I could not believe that when they said it.
As a man who's made his bones making extremely low hanging fruit puns, I chef kissed that when I heard it the first time.
It's Downe.
Yeah.
No.
So they make this fucking movie, and it gets like short theatrical release.
But yeah, nobody wanted it, so it never got a home video release, which probably also it would have never come to like DVD or Blu-ray because of the rights issues with the music and whatnot. So Apple had to create, not Apple computers, Apple Records had to basically create a film arm to put it out into theatrical screenings because nobody wanted this movie.
Apple Films, yeah. For just this film, apparently.
Incredible logo, by the way. I just wanted to point that out. It's like this fucking literal apple floating in space.
That intro is so good, too. I love it. But yeah, this fucking movie premieres, like, and it's got a Beatle attached to it. But for whatever reason, like, they had the premiere, and like, apparently it did well, but it was only in theaters for like a couple weeks, and then they fucking pulled it. There's a whole thing I was reading where like they redubbed most of the movie and then shelved it. Like they played it in the theaters, came out of theaters, then they redubbed most of the movie to fix the story, quote unquote, and then ended up shelving it because nobody wanted to buy it again. So they were just like, fuck it, whatever, put it on the shelf. It's the equivalent of like that Family Guy sketch with the Beatles when Ringo runs in and writes a song and they hang it on the fucking refrigerator.
But the plan also was to have Douglas Adams and one of the Monty Python guys to basically rewrite the script, and they would do like a dub version of it and put it out, but it never happened, and to try to make it a comedy. And I was like, that's for 1974, that's pretty good. But I guess What's Up Tiger Lily did that, the Woody Allen movie. So but it's still a cool idea.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised. Apparently, it's like they did it. Like it's a thing. It's just not released. They just shelved it, which is bonkers to me. That also that version of the film exists in some capacity that we'll never see. But this had to have been. This was recorded. I mean, it's on 35. I would imagine 35 millimeter.
Yeah.
But somebody fucking put it on a tape at some point. Okay,
and uploaded it to YouTube.
Yeah.
At some point in the late 70s or early 80s, somebody had a film print of this fucking movie and put it onto VHS, because that is how we have a copy for the masses to see the bootleg version.
With the terrible skipping and the tracking issues, and it's great.
It's like the only way to see it too, right?
I love how there's literally a segment in the beginning of this YouTube rip where there's like 2 or 3 seconds I don't know what's happening because there's just blue screen. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get to it, but there's like stretches of this movie you cannot fucking see a thing.
Oh.
I thought I was watching Alien versus Predator Requiem for a minute.
I was thinking about Home Sweet Home. I was looking for Body by Jake to jump out of.
Same thing, dude. Yeah, he's just lurking in the woods, and it's supposed to be scary, but you can't even fucking see him.
Well, he could have been the werewolf who just appears from out of nowhere.
Yeah, all that PCP turned him into a werewolf. I buy it.
He grew his hair out, dude.
What the 70s, man? I don't
Well,
know.
yeah, this is true. Yeah. So this is directed by Freddie Francis. Okay, and he directed a bunch of Hammer and Amicus films.
Yes.
Yeah, he did Nightmare and Hysteria, Evil of Frankenstein, and the original Tales from the Crypt.
It definitely has that feel of someone who worked in the British exploitation world, basically. But he also is an Academy Award-winning cinematographer for like
Right?
real ass movies. Not those movies aren't real, but like
Dune.
yeah,
The Elephant. He's a cinematographer for Dune and The Elephant Man and the fucking Cape Fear. The man works with Scorsese.
Return to Oz and Glory, and
Yep.
it's crazy. He worked for his last movie was with David Lynch. He did Straight Story.
Yes. Yep. He fucking directed Dark Tower. Have you ever seen that?
Yes. Yep.
The haunted office building movie from the 80s. Great shit, dude. Michael Moriarty, Jenny Orgutter. Good stuff. Oh, also has MD alumni Kevin McCarthy's in that movie too.
Oh, God.
Nice.
Is he a zombie again?
Who knows? Maybe we should cover it and find out.
I've never seen it, so sign me up.
So Harry Nilsson, Ringo picked Harry Nilsson because he was like riding high on his first 2 albums, and he's like, oh, he's a handsome guy. Let's fix his teeth because I paid for it, and we're gonna put him in this movie. And they're like, okay, let's do it.
They wanted Bowie originally.
Really? Yeah, Bowie fucking was like, nope, I'm gonna go do the Hunger, dude.
Exactly. Because Bowie was on the record label at the time, and they were like, we'd really prefer him. But Son of Nilsson album had a lot of the same motifs that they were going to do for this movie. So they just picked Harry Nilsson instead, which, one of the greatest singer-songwriters of all time.
Yeah.
I don't care what anybody says. I fucking love the Popeye movie. So
Oh, man. It's not great, but I can't say I hate it. I grew up with it.
Look, Harry Nilsson is inarguably one of the greatest musicians of our time, but he's definitely not one of the greatest actors.
No. He's better than Ringo, though. Ringo is like,
Oh, yeah.
Ringo's playing Merlin the Magician, and in my version of this story, he's playing the same Merlin from the Mexican Santa Claus movie.
Yes, that's what I was thinking of the whole time. Even the fucking observatory looks like that. I'm like, what the fuck is this, Santa Claus?
Versus the devil. This is all about like nocturnal creatures. I could see.
Yeah.
It's the Harry Nilsson cinematic universe.
Yeah, it's the MDU, baby. It all happens here.
All in the movie dumpster universe.
Which I mean, Goodfellas is part of that because Jump Into the Fire is in there, and
Yeah.
I can see that all working together.
Just one last aside. Harry Nilsson, just because I just thought this was a funny little sidebar. Like, Harry Nilsson and John Lennon got kicked out of the fucking Troubadour Club for getting drunk as shit and heckling this band. And fucking Pam Grier was there too, like just by proxy, like to the side, and she gets kicked out with them. I just thought that was such a funny fucking story, man. I had to bring that up.
Have you guys seen the show that's on HBO that's called Tales from the Tour Bus?
No.
Take a look at it. It's Mike Judge. I just started watching it. It apparently was on in like 2018, but they just brought it back like last year. Mike Judge made this entire documentary. The first part of it is all about like Jerry Lee Lewis and country music and all that kind of stuff.
Man, yeah.
The second part is all about funk. So it goes from Rick James to Parliament Funkadelic to Prince. It's fucking amazing. It's all the people who knew them telling stories about them, but they're animated.
Oh, I gotta see this, dude.
It's incredible. It's because I'm obsessed with funk music. I always have been.
Parliament's fucking amazing.
It's so good. Yeah, Parliament didn't have any. He didn't have any furniture at his house. He just had those giant stuffed animals you can win at carnivals.
George Clinton.
Yes,
he took the fucking elephant.
He stopped smoking crack for one whole tour because he needed it to go well. So he had this crack rock that was like the size of a large like rock, and it was his good luck rock, and he just kept it with him the entire tour. The tour was over. He decided to smoke it and accidentally set the hotel that they had on fire.
Oh my god.
I need to fucking see this shit, dude.
I'm just picturing him like Sanka from fucking Cool Runnings, like rubbing it in his pocket for good luck.
Oh my god. Glory hella stupid.
Rick James saw Kiss and he's like, well, black people should have a kiss too. So he set out to find whoever did the pyrotechnics and all that, but they couldn't get anybody. So they had some dude who was like a carny, and Rick James would basically catch on fire every night until they figured it out.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's amazing. So like New mentioned before, this was a soundtrack, and the song Daybreak gets in the top 40 hits like of 1972 or 1974 rather. And I said that at the beginning because this fucking movie wraps up, just sidebar again, this movie wraps up in 72 and gets shelved for another 2 fucking years before it comes out. Right? So that's why, so it's done in 72 and then it doesn't get released till 74. But the soundtrack gets released. And it's fucking awesome, dude. I had to get this LP. Now, I had never heard it until Newt was telling me about it. And it's a great album. I mean, it's fucking Harry Nilsson. It's a great album. But the cover opens, like, it's Harry Nilsson on the cover as Son of Dracula. And it opens, like, his cape. And then inside, there's, it reminded me a lot of, like, the Bonzo Dog Band LPs, where it had, like, all of that gimmicky shit in there. And, like, the collage of, like, characters and stuff. And it also comes with an iron-on transfer that I will be digitizing and we will be releasing in the Movie Dumpster merch store because it's awesome.
I got it without the iron-on transfer, but I have that same one that you have. I found it at a farmer's market, and I was like, this is amazing. And obviously, I have the theatrical poster for this movie framed in my kitchen, and that's probably the hardest poster I've ever had to find because so few of them exist. So when I finally tracked it down from a guy, I was like, this is great because I have a Dracula kitchen. So
yeah, that's so awesome, dude. There's like the tagline is bite it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, was that part of the marketing? Because like it has nothing to do, like there is no like catchphrase or anything in the movie or anything like that, but it's all over the fucking poster. On the transfer it says bite it like huge on the bottom.
Look, I don't think a lot of thought went into this entire production. If I'm being completely honest with you, I think once we got past Ringo going, we're gonna have Harry Nilsson and he's gonna play the Son of Dracula, and they're gonna be like, all right, whatever.
He's gonna play the piano. I'm gonna get John Bonham and Keith Moon to come in and play the drums for a second. Peter Frampton will be there.
Like, let him do what he wants.
Well, Ringo's again. The Beatles just broke up. He's like a fucking billionaire, dude, doing whatever the fuck he wants. Like, I'll just keep throwing money at it until it comes out.
But that's my favorite part about it. It was just because wouldn't you do that? Like,
sure.
Same Dumpster became like the biggest thing, and then you guys decide to stop, and you were like, well, I love Hammer movies and Dracula and Frankenstein. I'm just gonna go make my own with my friends. Fuck yeah, I would do that. And if nobody sees it,
arguably better than this, but yeah. I mean, it is the goal, so we'll see what happens.
What if what we saw was their vision, though?
Oh,
Who are
man.
we to question their art.
Wow, that's true.
They spent a couple $1 million to fucking make an in joke that they can watch at parties together. Probably.
Yeah, because one of the stories was Harry Nilsson brought it to like a Beatles thing and ran it, and nobody showed up.
Didn't you tell me a fucking story where Ringo was on like a radio show and promoted it?
So nobody. All right, yeah. So this movie, I didn't hear about it until Exhumed Films in Philly did a Lost Movie Festival, and they showed a bunch of movies like Andy Milligan's Blood, which is so fucking funny.
Oh, dude, Milligan's great.
Skate Town USA, which has like 1 million people in it. I think I was explaining that to Sean that like fucking Patrick Swayze plays like the tough guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So this movie played, and before it, there was a film historian there who basically said that nobody wanted the movie, so they had to keep like payola-ing movie theaters to show it. So Ringo went on like an Atlanta morning radio show, and he's like, "Oh, we're gonna be showing this movie, and rumor has it 3 of my old friends are gonna be there."
Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Yeah, basically insinuating that the Beatles were gonna get back together. So the governor of Atlanta, they had to call out the National Guard.
Oh my God.
And then they were like, it literally was just 3 friends of Ringo that showed up. And I'm like, God fucking bless you.
Wouldn't you do that though? I would totally use the fucking Beatles leverage.
Oh, I would do that in a heartbeat.
So fuck me, man. All right, let's get into this unique vision, shall we say.
Yeah.
Newt, if you'd like to plot crunch this real quick for us.
Yeah, so Dracula looks like a guy he looks like the Nosferatu Dracula, but like if you got it at like Rite Aid and it's the last costume available.
And he was like the hamburger vampire that ate a lot of fast food because he's like 500 pounds.
Exactly, and it's like, yeah, so he gets stabbed by a mysterious figure, and he's dead, and then they find out that his wife was having a baby, and Ringo is Merlin the magician, because Merlin the magician and Dracula always go together, and that his son is destined to become the lord of the underworld, not the fucking band from that South Park episode.
No.
And so they're getting everything ready, and it's like 20-something years. Well, we don't know how many years later. He's a vampire, so it's probably a couple hundred years. And he's coming back to his coronation.
So yeah. Basically, Dracula is destined to take the throne, and he doesn't want to do it because he's like, oh, I found love or something, and then the movie happens.
Yeah, and then the movie just happens. He goes like to the world, like the hall of the occult, where he just walks by like the Gorgon woman.
Yeah,
and Frankenstein's monster who's just fucking chilling out, and then the exact werewolf that he just saw who's still bleeding. Son of Dracula is just like, I'm sure that's fine. This is England,
Oh my God, dude. We open up in the 1800s and fucking, it's pretty neat though, because like there's this POV shot, like you were saying, and it's like going through Dracula's castle, and there's like this midget there, and he's like, come on, he's this way, or whatever.
Yeah, little person playing Igor with this really weird haircut. Well, not a haircut, but receding hairline.
He's teeny gore.
He's apparently immortal also, as we come to find out.
Well, there's a lot of weird shit in this movie because like Newt said, the fucking Dracula is this gigantic bald man, and he's fucking cool. He's got these long ass like Coffin Joe fucking fingernails, and he's got these big teeth and shit. He actually looks like the vampire from like a dime store version of the vampire from the Tales from the Dark Side episode, the circus with
oh yeah.
Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
With what's his face? Oh man, I can't remember. Hagstrom, Sean. Who was it again? Oh, William Hickey.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Great episode. Except William Hickey's false teeth in that. They're like falling out of his mouth when he's fucking trying to act. Anyway.
Yeah, it's like a POV shot of this person attacking Dracula with like a cross and shit. And this is where even on YouTube, because like we said, VHS copy literally got uploaded. It skips, so you miss like 3 seconds of the action.
And I'm sure that it was all extremely important plot points that will make the movie make sense.
Absolutely, 110%.
All that dialogue was squeezed in there.
Yeah, we need that Blu-ray copy to fully restore the glory of this film. I'm sure Vinegar Syndrome's going to do it at some point if they can get their hands on it.
Yeah.
We'll get the rights from Cinemation Industries or whatever that obvious company is in the beginning of the movie.
Whatever dummy fucking company that was.
The sci-fi opening.
Apple Films. So yeah, his wife is pregnant. So Dracula has this hot wife that's just in a coffin and she's pregnant, ? But she's not a vampire.
No, and no one else who works for Dracula knew that she was pregnant.
Yeah, except Brian, who after Dracula dies, Brian's like, "Oh, come in here, Merlin. There's the bride of Dracula's in here, and she's pregnant." And this fucking guy, Brian, I thought it was a different character later, but he becomes young somehow. Did somebody?
Yes.
What the fuck? Did Merlin make him young?
I think because like he was good, like because in that scene he's like, "You've served the world of darkness well," so he makes him like 70s British handsome.
Yeah, he
really
does.
British, but like, you know,
he's Dark Shadow chic, dude.
Yeah, it's always overcast there, so it's darker. People I'm dark and handsome, and what I mean is when it's dark, I'm handsome.
I do also love how Igor, when Dracula's killed, is really happy about it and is dancing around, slamming on the
He's playing the piano and shit like that.
Oh my god, yeah. He's like so fucking happy and he's just jamming on the piano. That's fucking hilarious, man.
I had fun because it looked like he was having fun, you know?
Yeah, me too. And what is the implication here? Well, I guess we could always circle back around on that, actually.
Well, Ringo shambles out as Merlin, and he's like, "I'm Merlin. I'm Lord of Time and astrology or whatever, and I'm also the keeper of the universal monsters because I am their father and they're my children.
I play magic billiards too."
He also makes a comment later in the film like, "Yeah, I told King Arthur all about this and he didn't believe me. He's a moron."
Fuck that dude.
Why is Merlin the keeper of the nether realm?
Because it's public domain.
He's like, "Yeah, Dracula, well, the son of Dracula, TM, is going to become the king one day of the nether realm, and you got to watch after him, Brian. Okay.
Yeah.
And then kick up that fucking Harry Nilsson because we get this long-ass, like, driving scene in this, like, fucking, I don't know what, Gothic Ecto 1?
With the driver from Burnt Offering driving the limo.
Yeah. I thought it was T-Rex driving, and I'm like, "Oh, that kind of looks like T-Rex. Is that T-Rex?" And it turns out that's Brian just young.
Yeah.
Without this fucking bad bald cap makeup.
Oh, yeah. I love when he has the bald cap, too, because do you remember the Long Branch Castle ads from the 80s?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, he looks like a guy who would, like, he would beckon you into a haunted attraction on the boardwalk, you know? They didn't bother to powder down, like, the bald cap and stuff, so It's like Eddie Murphy at the end of Vampire in Brooklyn, where they were like, just go. It's fine.
Holy shit, dude. He's like, it looks like riffraff.
Yeah.
They say 100 years later, but like Newt said earlier, like, it's really nondescript because it's clearly like the 70s. It's not just 100 years.
Well, right, because it's the 1800s. I guess it's 100 years. I don't know.
I guess if you want to get technical, it could be.
Ask Ringo to do the math on that one.
Yeah.
No, he's not returning any of my messages. I painted him a portrait of himself in high school, and he still hasn't responded to it.
Okay. I guess before we really get deep into this, I have this bad sketch idea.
Oh my god, that's right. I forgot about that.
I just want to mention this quickly, but that me and Joe kind of workshopped a few years ago when we used to work together. Because, you know, I'm not trying to sound like an asshole. The guy obviously had a hell of a career. He is the other guy in the Beatles. Like, he's doing pretty well for himself, but I always was like, okay, my favorite Beatle.
One could say that he's the ultimate tailcoat rider.
Oh, he's not even the best drummer in the Beatles.
No.
Yeah.
I'm trying to throw him a bone here.
Yeah, well, Paul like re-recorded some tracks or some shit. I remember that story.
Yeah. But hey, he's got a leg up on Pete Best, and that's all that matters.
Exactly.
This is
Pete
true.
Best is the only, like, in Christianity, suicide is, and Catholicism, suicide's like frowned upon. But if Pete Best killed himself, I think if he got up there, like, whoever's running the gate would go, "No, that makes sense. Come on in."
But all that preamble is for when I'm going to say that, yeah, he's the worst Beatle. He's the worst fucking Beatle. And I always had this bit that, like, is him and Paul the only two alive left, like, he's never going to be over Paul. He's never going to be more popular than Paul unless he kills him.
He has to collect the Beetle Infinity Stone, dude, the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, or he gets the tontine when he's the last standing, you know?
Oh, yeah, exactly. So it was just a stupid idea of, like, him getting taken out by the cops. Like, why'd you do it? Why'd you do it, Ringo? Well, now I'm the last Beatles, so they'll all come to me for music and for the autographs.
He kills him and he experienced the Beatlening.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole sketch.
It's all been part of the plan. It's going well. And Paul's like, I'm never going to die. I'm just going to turn into a British grandma.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
him and Steven Tyler have aged very bizarrely.
Yes. Well, Steven Tyler looks like, I don't know what, something you'd find in like the fucking Insidious franchise.
Oh my God.
Talking about Insidious, well, that's one jump to The Conjuring, which Sean was just on a show on Hack the Movies.
He was on Hack Movies.
Oh yeah.
That was a good episode. I had fun.
Yeah, me and Newt were on there with Tony.
Well, if you and I did it, I think it would have been a lot more popular, but
Yeah, probably.
He's the worst.
Every thumbnail just needs to be your face, though, Newt. That's going to get those click-throughs, dude.
Is that, or I just make them, even if like Crystal's not in the episode, I just make it a picture of her. I was going to
That too, there you go, yeah.
to get the Pokemon views up, just to spite Tony, I was going to make it the sexy, bloody covered one from the Pokemon episode thing that we did.
Oh, yeah, I sprayed her with that blood.
Yeah, and it's like, she's not in the episode, but I bet you that would get views, you know?
I don't know. What do I know about the internet?
Yeah, me too.
So like there's this whole long sequence where like Brian's like driving Harry Nilsson around in his fucking hearse, and for whatever reason they're going through like a parking garage, and then there's like mummies on the outside of the car, and then there's like policemen looking in the car to see the corpse.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on? Who was like, oh yeah, this is okay. Like, how did this pan out when everybody was sitting down like, all right, so the beginning of the movie, right? He pulls in, but there's like mummies on the car.
Again, this was his vision.
This is the Ringo cut.
Mm-hmm.
Is his vision also like in the dark? There's not that many lights on, right? In his imagination.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's Ringo. He's got a good life, you know. He spent so much time in the spotlight that he's looking to move into the shadows.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Speaking of people looking into the car, randomly, like some woman comes out. It seems like she knows them at first, but then,
well, she's like she's a gas station attendant. They like pull up to gas up the hearse.
Oh, okay.
Her and her like boyfriend were like making out.
Yeah.
To T-Rex.
Yeah, they sure were.
So then she runs back inside and her boyfriend's dead, and the Son of Dracula's standing over him.
Dude, Harry Nilsson cannot get down unless there's music playing. Like he to eat, he has to put the record back on a T-Rex and then he bites her.
He wanted to hear the rest of that song.
I love Jeepster, man. Here we go.
Again, it's like when you think about it, it's like, you know, what's Hugh Hefner? He'd been with so many women that the only way he could have sex was to like do freaky stuff. Dracula's probably eaten so many people that he's like, look, I got my weird kinks and it's the only way that my fangs can come out, you know?
He loves music, dude. That's what gets him hard, yeah.
So he kills both of them and then he goes back on his merry way.
We cut to fucking Merlin's observatory. And again.
Oh, it would have been better though if Merlin's like, that you open it like Batman Forever where he's like, can I offer you a sandwich? It's a drive-through, and then he eats that girl as he's driving.
Yeah, Harry Nilsson's like, I'll get drive-through. Thanks, Merlin.
So then, like, Merlin's like talking to the Baron, who
Baron von Frankenstein.
Yeah,
played by Freddie Jones, dude. Did you guys recognize this guy?
Yep.
He's in fucking. He's one of the dudes on House Atreides in Dune with the crazy fucking eyebrows.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
That gets captured by the Harkonnens and like tortured.
Right.
Yeah, he was. I knew him mostly because I know Dune, but I knew him mostly from The Elephant Man.
Yeah, he's in that too. He's even in Firestarter and Krull too.
Oh yes, he is. I just pulled up his IMDb.
I see. He's also credited in Neverending Story 3, and the only thing I can remember from that is like that. Is that Jack Black is a bully in it, and that's about all I remember from that.
Played Jack Black in the movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
he saw him in that Atari Pitfall commercial. He's like, "I'm going to be that kid."
Oh my God, remember that?
And then Merlin's talking to fucking Now Frankenstein the guy, mind you. I mean, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you know that Frankenstein's the guy and not the monster. But anyway.
And we're not talking about John Hurt this time. For once, we're not talking about John Hurt.
Well, John Hurt is part of this timeline.
Yes, John Hurt went into the past and he wrote a bunch of songs.
He was writing them with Harry Nilsson, you think?
Yeah, that happened.
Well, I went back to the 1800s in Transylvania and I wrote the Daybreak song with Harry Nilsson. Ringo fucked it up. So yeah, Frankenstein's there and he's like, oh, Merlin, the Dracula, where is he? Or the son of Dracula, where is he? He needs to be ordained for the netherworld king or whatever, because we can't do whatever without our king or our lord. And Merlin's like, it has to be the precise moment that he takes the crown and puts it on his head. I've calculated it for thousands of millennia, but I still don't know what time it is.
He's Goodwill Hunting the room, like he's got this elaborate math problem behind him, you know?
Solve for X, dude, because nobody knows not even Merlin knows what that caveat is in this whole plan.
It goes into the Dracula versus Frankenstein world where there's like the mad scientist who has to like figure out when the comet's coming to bring Frankenstein's monster back to life. And
Right. That's basically, it's just astrology poppycock. And they fucking milk the shit out of this plot point because whenever Merlin appears, that's all he fucking talks about. Ringo just goes on and on and on about this specific singular point of time where he needs to put this crown on and or get an operation, which we'll get to.
well, they go like, okay, so imagine they sit down, they're like, okay, well, Harry Nilsson's going to play Dracula's son. I'm going to play Merlin the Magician. There's going to be a Baron Frankenstein. There's going to be a Van Helsing. There's going to be all these things. Oh, cool. Okay, we'll go write the script. And then they sat down. They went, oh, no. Like, what? There's going to be a math problem.
How are we going to... I don't know. Wait a second. Ringo said he wants them as his kids? Merlin's kids is Dracula?
Everyone in the netherworld is like a child of Merlin.
Is Merlin fucking a bunch of demon chicks? Is that what's going on?
Well, it was Ringo.
Yeah, maybe. Well, he's hanging out with fucking Petey Wheatstraw, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's like, I'm gonna get a little stank on my netherworld.
What do you say there? Stank on my wizard staff. Let's do it.
Yeah, oh, if he had a wizard staff that had a fucking ball of tinfoil at the end of it and he made it snow in that party at the end, it would have been amazing.
Petey gave him his fucking pimp cane, dude. He rented it to him for the weekend.
Yeah.
When did that movie come out? That was like 76, 77?
That was 70. I remember it was 77 because I mentioned that it came out the same fucking year as Star Wars when we reviewed it.
And they're very comparable.
Yes, exactly.
They both set a lot of films in motion that would come after it, so I agree.
Yeah, oh, absolutely, yeah. I kickstarted it, you could say, yeah. So Harry Nilsson shows up to the fucking observatory. So, well, let me preface that with the fact that, like, Frankenstein is all pissed off because, spoilers, he doesn't want Dracula to become the king of the Netherworld. He wants to be the king. But nobody really knows what the king of the Netherworld does, per se, because they've been out without one for 100 years. Since Dracula.
And they've clearly been doing okay without one.
Yeah.
It's just a ceremonial, you know, it's like getting the key to the city or something like that. It doesn't actually mean anything.
It's like a status symbol. That's literally it. Because look, for sake of the convoluted nature of this movie, I'm just going to come out with it right now. Frankenstein is the conspirator of this movie who killed fucking the original Dracula.
Yeah.
Now, my whole thing was like, why didn't he just become king at that point?
Because then the movie wouldn't happen, Joe.
Oh, all right. Gotcha. Because Son of Dracula TM wouldn't happen. I gotcha.
But talking about there being an empty throne for 100 years, when, Son of Dracula, as we come to find out, like we said, is named actually Count Downe. Which every time I type that in my notes, my phone's like, did you mean Count Down as in one word? I'm like, no.
Oh, I meant this. I'm talking about Son of Dracula.
That's not even a funny joke. Like, yeah, like Count Down like music? Hilarious.
Oh, they were probably so fucking high, and they were just like, this shit is the truth.
Yeah, people are gonna love this. They're gonna lose it in the theaters.
One day, some fucking assholes are going to talk about it on the podcast. What's a podcast? Don't worry.
Yeah, exactly.
And John Hurt's like, don't worry, I'll tell you all about it. Let's do another one.
John Hurt created it in the past.
Him and Raul Julia did it. I just followed in their footsteps.
He yells to Baldwin to bring in the American tequila. They're like, "What's tequila?"
Yeah, well, if it was like Count Metronome or something, I don't know, anything. How about just Dracula? He's not even called Count Dracula.
Well, I mean, they missed out because Rockula came out years later, and they should have called him Rockula.
With fucking what's his face, Dean.
Dude from the Ski School movies or Ski Captain.
Yeah, the guy from fucking summer camp. The fuck's his name?
Was Tony Basil in that one, or was she in the one? No, she was in the one on Alcatraz.
Yeah, I don't think she's not in summer school. Not Dean Cain. Obviously not Dean Cain.
No, not Dean Cain.
I forgot his fucking name. Anyway, Rockula, stay tuned.
No, I was just saying how, like, when they are walking around the castle at one point, Dracula. I keep wanting to call this guy Dracula, but it's Count Downe.
We'll just call him Dracula. It's fine.
I'm just gonna call him Harry Nilsson. Fuck it.
Yeah, oh, there you go. Yeah, Harry Nilsson. He's looking at the throne and he's like, "God, these people haven't had a king for 100 years. What a shame." And it's like, who gives a fuck? Who cares?
And it's like, where have you been? You've just been off playing music for 100 years.
He was training to be Batman in that time.
Oh,
So
right.
it's like when fucking Alfred took over everything in Batman Begins. It was kind of a situation like that.
Brian has been Brian, his fucking faithful servant.
Not even credited as Brian. He's like credited as like chauffeur.
That's because he plays two different fucking characters. The guy Riff Raff and his chauffeur, the handsome Dark Shadows looking motherfucker later.
Right.
But look, Ringo only had so many friends that he could call in to come be in this.
Put him in the bold cap.
Yeah, this dude's he's like, you're the Walt Flanagan of this movie. You're gonna play like 12 different characters.
So this inauguration, or this coronation rather, is going to occur at this fucking occult museum. Is this the same one you guys went to?
I wish. I actually made that reference when we were there, and even the vampire guy had no fucking clue this movie even existed. And I'm like, oh, when I do this with Joe, this episode's gonna go over like a fucking lead balloon.
Speaking of lead things, we're getting there.
This museum at first, like, is this part of, like, Frankenstein's lab, or is that two separate locations?
I think this is like, okay, it's weird because Van Helsing has curated this quote-unquote museum, which is literally just a laboratory that houses the Wolfman, and Medusa,
right,
and Frankenstein, and even the corpse of Dracula.
Yeah, and they're all in like
cages.
Like it's like a wax museum. They're all in cages. But if he's like in charge of the underworld and trying to keep his cover, why are they should be free range monsters and not cages.
Yeah, their eggs taste better that way. Yeah.
12 years monster over here.
The whole time I'm watching, I feel like we're in Dr. Pretorius' fucking lab from Bride of Frankenstein with the way it's set up.
They tried to make it like that. They really tried.
It's more like Dr. Phibes, dude. Let's be real.
Yeah, true.
So fucking the Count just, again, talking about these long sequences of just padding, like, it's just Harry Nilsson walking around like fucking Piccadilly Circus, like walking to his next fucking venue to jam out.
The camera's shaking too when they're looking at like the Piccadilly Circus signs and stuff like that. And I was like, they had to get those shots and get the fuck out of there. Before a Bobby showed up.
The fucking Frank Henenlotter School of Filmmaking.
It was a rare American werewolf-free day, so they were very happy about that.
Oh, I was just gonna say, dude, Kessler's down the block fucking watching the porno movie.
I love how they have this giant Godfather poster like behind him in this one shot. It's like, oh, hey, Marlon Brando.
But then they also have like all of Harry Nilsson's albums stuff in the window.
Yeah.
And he stops to look at it. And I was just like, okay, I know what we're doing here.
Product placement, dude. Got to get those album sales.
This is like Double Dragon when they find the Double Dragon arcade machine. It's like, this shouldn't exist in this universe.
They did that in Rampage as well.
Oh, yeah.
What did they do in Rampage? They had the cabinet?
The actual cabinet is in Silk Spectre office or something like that.
Yeah, it's like in a lab or some shit.
Oh, that's stupid.
That movie was pretty fucking great. Maybe we should come back to that.
That movie's better than it has any right to be.
For sure. I had a great time with it.
I was going to say I never watched this movie all the way through, but it's been on the TV in my girlfriend's house because her father and her father's best friend are fans of it. But Battleship, which is just a piece of shit. I wonder if they ever have a fucking game in the background going on in the scene.
Yeah, somebody's playing it in the fucking brig, dude, when the aliens attack.
And then Tony Stark comes in to go, this guy's playing, what movie was in the Avengers?
Yeah. That guy's playing Galaga over there.
That's a timely reference. Moving on.
So he fucking, waltzes into Club Tramp. And this big boobed redheaded lady there, I'm sure Newt was cranking it.
I am a big fan of big boobed redheaded ladies.
Well, she just like starts hitting on him.
She's like, drink? Smoke? No? Well, what do you do? And then kick it up, baby, because we're fucking jamming. He goes and sits down at the piano and just starts fucking rocking and rolling Vampire.
I love the shot where they show the mirror and he's not there, though. I was like, that's nice. That's
Dude,
nice.
It's fun. Like, all the music scenes are fun because they're just like shitty music videos that I'm kind of into because I really like the music.
Yeah.
But this is the scene that Peter Frampton's in and John Bonham for like a second.
Yeah. Well, John Bonham comes back again later in the movie as well because he's on the drums and they spend a lot more time on him in that one. I mean, you can't miss.
Oh no, that's Keith Moon towards the end.
Oh yes, all right. I get them confused. Keith Moon is in the later half. Okay.
Yeah, and John Bonham's the drummer for Led Zeppelin. For those of you who don't know that,
right?
But yeah, he's in like 2 shots because I was looking for him specifically. There's like this shot where there's like 3 shots of whiskey and the camera pans up and you see his face for literally half a frame, and then that's it.
Oh yeah, okay, that's that part. I've seen this movie several times, but it all just blurs together in my mind.
The second one you're talking about is when they're jamming in the fucking basement of the museum.
Yes, and all the monsters are there and stuff like that, yeah.
And they definitely focus on Keith Moon quite a bit in that scene.
He gets more screen time than any other musician in this movie besides Nilsson and Ringo.
Yep.
Bobby Keys shows up in it a bunch of times from the Rolling Stones as well. He gets
yes.
He gets a bunch of close-ups as well in the movie.
We get like a 30-second saxophone solo.
Yeah, but Harry Nilsson's got good on-screen, like he goes from like a charisma vacuum to being like fucking a prism of light when he's actually performing,
Oh yeah.
As long as he's singing, it's okay with me because it's a lot of fun to like watch them perform.
And it's all good songs too. There's not a single song on this that I'm like, I really like all of them.
Oh, it's so good. I texted you the other day. I'm like, I'm fucking jamming to this while I was working.
I am a little disappointed though that he didn't sing his classic tune, Lime in the Coconut.
Oh yeah.
I put the blood in the coconut and drink it all up.
Could you imagine this film did well and then like it's one of those things where Nilsson was like, oh, I'm gonna make like a vampire version of Lime in the Coconut because to cash in on it.
Oh yeah, he's like we can get some of that sweet Monster Mash music.
Oh yeah, on one of those fucking like Halloween rock albums.
Yeah, years later, Michael Jackson is inspired, and Thriller was directly inspired by Son of Dracula. Like,
oh well, I saw Son of Dracula, and I was like, oh, I really want to make that. I'm gonna make Thriller.
Oh, and Ringo's like, it all worked to plan.
It all worked. He bought the fucking rights to all our music, and now we're poor.
Son of a bitch.
We could have been multi-billionaires. Oh well. He just pats the fucking 35mm copy of Son of Dracula on his shelf.
But it's crazy that a 35mm print of this movie is still out in the wild. Like the one that I saw, I was like, man, where would you even go about getting something like that?
Either dude from Exhumed owns it, or I guess they rented it. I don't know.
Could have. I've never seen it pop up anywhere. It's just one of those things. Like there's a lot of really obscure movies that I've seen show up in places, but that one I was like, there's probably like 5 of those prints in the universe,
Maybe. Yeah, they have a plethora of rare shit, which is always fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where we go to that scene where that woman's kind of in the woods collecting flowers, and you really can't see what's happening at all.
This is a 5-minute stretch of just mostly black screen. And it's like, what the fuck is happening? She's getting stalked by a werewolf, I think.
Well, yeah, we get that full moon shot in the howl.
But she's also getting stalked by Harry Nilsson, and you're like, okay, is she gonna get, is he gonna get bitten, or is she gonna get, eaten by this werewolf or whatever? She goes into this crypt. I don't even know who the fuck this is, and she like puts flowers, like lilies, on the fucking coffin, and the werewolf attacks, and Harry Nilsson comes out with his fucking pimp cane blade and like stabs him in the fucking arm with it, and he goes running off.
Well, he jumps out and goes, "Doctor!"
Ain't there nothing I could take? How about fucking 10 inches of steel in your fucking shoulder?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, this when we say what happens in this movie out loud, I go, why do I like this movie?
Because it's bizarre.
Yeah, so again, like we left off, I was going through it quick. She just like pulls her shirt down a little bit so that she can get bitten on the neck, and then that scene ends and he goes to the occult thing again, and again he doesn't just
pops
notice
up like an hour later into the film. You're like, who the fuck is this again? Oh,
when she's like part of the science experiment.
Yeah.
She's moving bottles of Crystal Pepsi later in the movie. We're trying to explain the plot to a movie that doesn't really have a plot.
We already did it in the beginning, and that's about as far as it goes.
Things just kind of have to happen from this point. And and then later on, Van Helsing is in a wheelchair he's dressed like Leonardo DiCaprio in Django Unchained.
Yeah. He looks like fucking Dr. Moreau, dude.
Yeah. Count Downe meets Amber, who he falls in love with.
Yeah.
Kind of suddenly, though.
Yeah, well, Amber falls in love with him, and then he's like, okay, I guess I won't be a vampire anymore.
40 minutes into the movie, she shows up, and she's like, hey, I'm kind of hot. And he goes, you are kind of hot. I should probably give up being a vampire. And she's like, that'd be cool. You should have an operation. Then everybody's like, fuck yeah. And that's kind of how the movie goes.
Because at some point in this movie, like you just said, it changes from you're going to be coronated as the new god of the underworld to, well, actually, we can perform an operation to make you mortal if you want.
Like Superman 2.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Ringo is so insistent on being like, you gotta be the king of the underworld, and then like turns face immediately. He's like, well, if that's what you want to do and become immortal, that's fine too, no problem.
I've only been working on this plan for 100 years. Yeah. Fuck me, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's a fucking blink of an eye for him, dude. That's like a New York minute for Merlin.
So we do get in between all that. We get that second song because Count Downe, he finds a fucking piano in the mansion that he starts jamming out on. Yeah. He starts playing. This is where he plays Remember for the first time.
Yes.
From You've Got Mail? Like, I love the idea that this movie's completely forgotten except for in You've Got Mail, where they play the fucking song from this album.
Tom Hanks said, I'm not going to be in this movie with Meg Ryan unless you put this song in from this obscure 1974 movie. And they're like, holy shit, we can't lose Tom Hanks.
I mean, he's the bread and butter here. Just sidebar, I was sitting here watching with this with my wife, and she mentioned that to me, so I had to fucking bring it up because I was like dying.
But yeah, he also does sing Remember. And,
yeah.
It's a pretty nice song.
Yeah, no, again, the soundtrack of this movie is fucking great. Like, I listen to these songs all the time. And again, it's got Jump Into the Fire, which is just a fucking great song.
Oh, yeah.
And when we saw it at the Philly event, the person I was with was like, oh, this is the song from Goodfellas. I was like, you only know this song from Goodfellas? Like,
I feel like that's how a lot of people consume things, though, you know?
Yeah, well, we were in Atlantic City last night, and there's a really popular YouTube stream guy I was eating dinner with, and we were having that conversation about music, and I was like, a lot of shit that I discovered back in the 80s and 90s was through movie soundtracks.
Yeah, me too.
There's so many bands that I would have probably never found on my own had I not listened to some weird ass, 80s, 70s, 80s, 90s movie soundtrack. So,
I say it's nice specifically though because I didn't realize how much of an impact on the plot this song would have by the end of it. And then when it happens, you're like, oh, okay.
I get it.
It's called foreshadowing. Again, this was all part of Ringo's art.
Yeah, his master plan.
I just want to note that, like, there's like this whole sub thing where they're like, well, he wasn't vampirized in a normal way. He was born that way. So it doesn't really count, but it does. Or whatever.
And that's what inspired Lady Gaga to write Born This Way.
It was Son of Dracula.
She said, doesn't she call them her little monsters? There you go. This movie inspired Lady Gaga.
There you go. It also inspired the Blade movie, too, to have pure blood-born vampires somehow.
This movie is so,
influential, I would say, right?
Runs deep.
It does.
Yeah, because Merlin at this point is talking about how, I found the astronomical location. I don't know what it means yet, but I found it. So now we know exactly when to crown him.
Yeah, but then he exclaims like, there's something here. And, Frankenstein's like, what is it? He's like, I don't know, but it's there. Something. Watch the rest of the movie and find out.
Merlin's just fucking buying time at this point.
He's playing the long game, and he knows how it's going to end anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But this is when he summons his fucking black cat that transforms into like a beautiful black woman.
I did like that a lot. I keep waiting for my cat to turn into something like that. She just keeps turning into a bigger and bigger asshole.
Oh my God. The best part though is after this woman transforms from this cat, she walks away and fucking Frankenstein, he's got these glasses on and he like looks down them like staring at her ass as she walks out the room.
Not Dracula. Count Downe has a dream where he sees this woman, Amber, that we're going to get to in a second, who is Van Helsing's like right-hand woman or whatever, and he like sees her and he thinks she's beautiful and then like burns his hand on a fucking cross or something.
Done in beautiful blue tint vision.
Oh yeah, with some Vaseline fucking fudged on the lens.
And him with the fangs is always so awkward looking.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, try to be Dracula now, and it's like, ugh.
Harry Nilsson.
a poofy ginger haired Dracula.
With a beard.
It makes the Dracula versus Frankenstein Dracula look fucking pimp.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the first Dracula with a beard. Well, because he's cool, man. He's a son of Dracula.
He's hip.
Well, maybe this whole movie is like, everybody expects me to be what my father was, but I just want to be about my music.
I'm not cutting my hair, man.
Yeah, it's a pretty rock and roll kind of thing of like kids in the 70s. They're like, I'm not going to be what my parents are. I'm all about the music. So he's like a rebellious Dracula, but he's 100.
Yeah, I don't want to do what my dad's doing or what my dad was, so I'm gonna go be a famous rock star, and that means I got to become human.
Yeah, it's like, well, your dad was also 500 pounds, dude. So just don't.
Count Burglar.
Count Downe was eating roadies and groupies.
Well, yeah, all he really was coursing with was HPV. If he was.
And cholesterol.
Yeah,
a cholesterol problem.
Count BMI.
Count Corpulent. I'm sorry. There you go.
We kicked it around. We workshopped it and we landed.
There you go.
Yeah. So when he has that dream, he also does have like a vision or something about when his father was killed. And then he wakes up, but he's not in his coffin. He's like in a regular bed. And it's daytime, and he's like, oh, shit, I got to close these shutters.
I like when he uses his foot to close the other one. Because I'm watching, I was like, I've seen this a couple times, but I don't remember how he closes that other shutter. And then he did it, and I went, oh, thank God.
I thought he was going to, I don't know what, burn his hand or some shit. But this is where he, realizes that he doesn't want to be a vampire anymore, or the king of the underworld, or the Netherrealm, or whatever the fuck. I hope Ed Boon doesn't sue us. Anyway.
And then he also has a Kevin McAllister fucking burn in his hand. It's like the cross from his dream.
Oh, yeah, dude. He's kindred spirits with fucking Harry Lime. He has this realization that he wants to become human. He just wants to play music and fuck this Amber woman.
That he just met. He's going to throw everything away for this woman he just met.
Yeah. I just want to glaze over some of this shit because the way
isn't this also the plot of the Nicolas Cage movie City of Angels?
Yeah, a little bit, now that you mention it.
With vampires, yeah.
With vampires. Well, angels can be vampires.
Well, this is true. Demon to some, rock and roll vampire to others.
Angels deserve to die. Oh, yeah. What was that band called? System of a Down?
Wake up.
System of a Down. Count Down.
There you go.
Were inspired by this movie too. Boom. It's all coming together.
You have stitched it up. There it is.
So then he drives over to Merlin's, where I just assumed he was at Merlin's already, but I guess not. And he's like, yeah, I think I want to become mortal. You think you can help me out, Merlin? And he's like, well, it's doable, but I can't do it.
they arranged to have it done by like Frankenstein, and Frankenstein conspires to like he's gonna defang Dracula, but that's not enough because even though he's mortal now, he's still gonna have like, I don't know, an influence over the people or something.
Well, hold on, he's got to get one of only two that exist on the whole planet: a radioactive transfer unit.
I fucking love the scene with the little person and him in the British like sci-fi movie set.
Yeah,
where
dude.
They're dressed like the beginning of Hell of the Living Dead.
Yeah. Or like the Crazies or something.
Yeah.
That little guy fucking borrowed that suit from Warwick Davis from Leprechaun in Space.
Yeah, because they have to at one point steal it. We might as well just talk about that now.
Yeah, we might as well. That's what I'm saying. Like we could skip some of the other shit because it's just, you know.
Again, doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't.
So they go to steal, and like Newt said, they're in the hazmat gear, and this thing is ridiculous looking. It's like, okay, come on, movie. It's like literally in a tube with like radioactive gas billowing off of it.
And he's rubbing the tank. But before that,
like it's a nipple.
Yeah. How does this? My fucking brain hurt when I was watching this because I'm like, wait a second.
But, hey, so the strength of Frankenstein and a little person aren't enough, but this mummy is super strong. So they wake up a mummy. Wake up! And
it's like Jason Mummy, though.
Yummy Mummy.
Yeah, yummy mummy. And then he does the thing for them. Like, all right, bye, mummy. See you in the third act of the movie.
They need the mummy because what? He's like resistant against radiation because he takes the box and he lays down on a gurney and they like push him outside, and then Frankenstein's monster like loads him up into the fucking van.
I would have given anything to be on the set when this movie was made, and they're like, we're just making it up as we go. The cameras.
Yeah. Fuck it. You know what else is hot right now? James Bond. So let's make Van Helsing a fucking... Van Helsing has like a set of radar in his car.
This part killed me because he's got this radar. Okay, so like Newt said, he's this guy in a wheelchair wearing like this... I don't know what hat. This hat you'd see like a detective wearing.
Panama fucking Jack.
Yeah, exactly.
He looks like he just fell into like a closet of Banana Republic.
He's going to tell them that he spared no expense in creating the island.
Exactly. But he's in this James Bond car, like you guys were saying, and he hits a couple buttons on the console, and then literally this static screen swirls around and turns into a regular like video surveillance thing, and he's like, oh, okay, yeah, Plan B gets on the transponder. It's time for Plan B. Go on in, boys.
Dispatch the Giallo motorcycle guys.
Oh yeah, the Psychomania guys who show up out of nowhere.
Oh my god,
they're the fucking juicy fruits from
Oh no, is that the same three guys?
Oh, but it looks like them, doesn't it?
Yeah, when they're like protecting Amber or whatever later.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, so this is the Psychomania guys, but they also remind me of Phantom of the Paradise a little bit too. You know?
Carburetors, man, that's what life is all about.
I love that movie so much.
It's so good. I would love to talk about that at some point.
Well, that was supposed to be my rental reviews episode.
Oh, let's bring it back. We'll do it for one of the shows. We got to do it.
Should. James and I were talking about it. I got him to watch it, and then the show got canceled, and he's like, oh, I guess we're not doing that then.
Remember.
Then the fucking cinema snob beat us to it because I told him to watch it, and I was like, you bastard.
Fuck him. He's not the only person with an opinion.
So while this was all going on, basically Merlin has been using the magic of chroma key to watch people have conversations. So he knows that they're stealing this radioactive transfer unit.
You think that Merlin inspired the movie Sliver?
Maybe.
Maybe.
He's watching everyone in that building's conversations, and that had a Baldwin in it too. It all fits together.
Yeah.
That's how it works here, man.
But he watches Frankenstein and Igor have a conversation about how they're going to use the unit to basically kill Dracula and act like
a malfunction will happen.
Right, so they can't be blamed for it. And then he goes and sees a conversation with Dracula and Amber, where now they're, I guess, in love.
Yeah, sure.
The plot says so I guess so.
Yeah.
That's what it says in the script anyway.
That's what he said to her in the movie. I thought it was weird. He's like, well, the script says we're in love.
There's a lot of scenes of Harry Nilsson, like somebody asked Harry Nilsson a question. He's like, I don't have the words to describe what I'm feeling right now, so I'll tell you later. And they're like, okay.
He has another concert somewhere in here after he's having he's having dinner with Amber in this like shag room with this fucking like couch that's encircling them.
That's awesome. I wish my living room looked like that.
And she's like, "Are you ready for your concert tonight?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I'm ready." And then like a minute later, she's like, "So you have that show tonight?" He's like, "Oh, I totally forgot."
Oh, yeah. She's like, thanks, I'm that beautiful? Thanks.
What are you thinking about? I don't know, Dracula stuff.
I don't know. I was thinking about if Keith Moon or John Bonham's going to be downstairs.
Hey, has anybody seen Peter Frampton? I asked him to come tonight too.
Oh, he's in the other room coming alive.
Yeah. Like Frankenstein's
monster.
Yeah. So then he goes to play this show, and this is where we get that Keith Moon solo in there. They focus on him a bunch, and Peter Frampton's there.
I don't think Peter Frampton's in this scene. He might be.
There's another guitarist featured. I couldn't figure out who it was. I thought it might have been Peter Frampton, but if not, I'm not sure.
It's a bassist.
Oh, okay. But this scene goes on for a while because he plays 2 songs. They break it up with a quick scene of Amber basically walking into the other room, and then they go to the next song.
Yeah, and it's just like 2 music videos back to back with like a middle whatever.
That's what the movie, like, they could have made this movie like it's Dracula is putting on a rock show.
Yes, they could have made it like the song remains the same or something.
Exactly. But no, they did this whole convoluted fucking radioactive thing, and we're gonna have an operation to a song that was arguably made more famous by Celine Dion. We're just gonna put it all together, you know?
Right.
So Frankenstein ends up coming back to the fucking museum, and he finds out that like Van Helsing is gonna do the fucking operation for the Count, because like he knows that he's going to be sabotaged by Frankenstein.
Right. They even show a scene when he's escaping with the unit. They get pulled over by the cops, and you find out it's part of that Plan B, and Van Helsing's car's like pulled up behind the bus, and they have kidnapped the monster.
Yeah, British T-1000's there, yeah.
And Van Helsing's like, everything's going according to plan.
Have you seen this boy?
The Galleria. Okay. Wolfie's fine.
But Frankenstein's pissed because he's like, nothing's in his control anymore, so he goes to like the council and starts complaining.
Which is great because everybody's just fart fog.
Yeah, it's haunted house fog.
It's also lit sort of like Mr. Hand's head in Galaxy of Terror.
Yes.
Where like it's like that fog, but it's got a tint to it, and it's like good enough. That's the council.
Oh, it's great. It's just like, well, we couldn't get any extras on the set today, so the council of mist.
Yeah, and he's like yelling. He's like, Count Downe, he's gonna become mortal, and then who's gonna be king? Who's gonna be king, huh? And then he like pauses, and he's like, wait, I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question.
Oh yeah.
I just want to talk about this defanging scene real quick, because it's just like, this Donald Pleasance ass motherfucker in a wheelchair ripping out the Count's fangs. Like, fuck, he goes full Deacon Frost on this fucking guy, and he's like, oh, here you go, here's a shot of blood. You're gonna be human tomorrow morning. That's just the first phase, though, because we have to do a full fucking blood transfusion to inject you with the love from Amber?
You did this fucking whole sci-fi thing, again, going back to Superman 2.
Yeah.
Maybe he goes in like a coffin, and like they like do a thing, and then he comes out, and he's like, oh, I'm a person now.
Oh, like a chrysalis that turns him human?
Yeah. Like that kind of thing, instead of doing this whole fucking like operation scene. And I'm just like, what? You went sci-fi and fantasy up to this point, but now you want to like get the medical jargon correct.
Right.
And it's just this, they just repeat themselves over and over again.
Well, that's why I was just totally shocked he didn't turn to Van Helsing and go, Doctor! Is there nothing more I can take?
You gotta put the amber blood in my coconut.
Freddie Francis goes, look, he's going to keep trying that, and we're going to keep cutting it out, okay? Ringo, do something about your friend.
That's why he has no lines in that scene, because every time he opened his mouth, he just went, Doctor!
They're like, just hold her hand. We don't have to ADR or dub anything if we just focus on his hand when he keeps waking up and yelling, Doctor!
Cut back to the hand.
The shot of their hands, though, reminded me of the Manos episode of Mystery Science Theater. He's like, what is that? It's a symbol of their love. Well, it's not staged very well.
That's the scene, straight up.
Oh, yeah, so Brian finds out that the operation is happening, and he is not too happy.
Oh, man. He gets clocked by the fucking Frankenstein's monster, or the Wolfman punches him out. And Merlin, transports his cat to wake him up.
Right.
What the fuck? I was like, what is happening, dude?
A cat licks him on the face and he wakes up.
He didn't become Catwoman?
No.
Yeah, right.
Oh, dude, yeah. He has that whole scene where he busts the fucking window down. It just says hell here on the
Well, he kills Max Schreck, and Max Schreck was Nosferatu. Again, it all fits together.
Oh, yeah, that's right, yeah. Well, this time he has to kill Frankenstein, but he fails at that, too.
Brian sucks.
Yeah, Brian sucks real bad. I mean, I guess he raised an okay kid, but that's about...
Is he like Merlin? He's like Merlin's nephew, and he gave him a job,
Merlin keeps giving him everlasting life, he makes him young again until he gets old and then rees him up.
Merlin's like the uncle who has a successful drywalling company, and his nephew is kind of a fuck up, and he's in and out of rehab and stuff. So he gives him a job, and then Brian steals tools from the work site and stuff.
Oh my god! Question, Sean. Where does Merlin, Ringo's Merlin fit into the pantheon of the movie dumpster universe? Is he the other blue wizard that always is there, whereas Richard Harris is kind of there sometimes?
I don't think he fits into that subsect of wizards per se. I think he's literal Merlin, but he's I think of Zaphod Beeblebrox from fucking Hitchhiker's Guide, where he's just this chaotic ball of energy in a ship just going across the universe, just fucking things up repeatedly.
Yes, he controls cosmos and astrology.
But he's a fuck up. He doesn't do anything productive. He's just doing his own thing, and he's just a weirdo, and maybe sometimes he does the right thing, maybe he doesn't, but at the end of the day, it's all for whatever agenda he has, because he's a wizard. He doesn't care about what happens with our little puny lives.
All for naught. That's exactly, that's the plot of this film. He doesn't really care what happens at all. He's just kind of rolls with it.
The other wizards see Merlin come, they're like, this fucking guy.
Hey, Merlin, get your fucking hands off my chicken.
And you thought we were chaotic.
I just came over because I wanted to hang out. I wanted to watch the Cubs game.
You don't want to see Merlin on acid. We were joking it was on acid watching it, but when he drops a little bit of that stuff, then that's when the real bad stuff happens.
Oh, that's when the party starts, yeah. No, I don't want my goddamn palm read. Would you shut the fuck up?
I gotta believe that fucking Ringo was stone sober while making this movie, though, because it's this is gonna be my magnum. This is gonna be the thing that, the White Album? That shit was that. This is the fucking truth right here,
This will outshine Living in the Water with an Octopus. This will be better.
Oh, yeah. Under the Sea with in an octopus's garden is where this movie goes, yeah.
It's going to be studied and talked about.
Yeah, there's going to be a commentary track by a film historian.
So then Brian saves Amber because she's getting attacked by all these monsters. They're just accosting her in a hallway.
Yeah, now we have a horde of the blind dead, budget blind dead. They're zombies or something.
Oh, well, we did forget one scene that would definitely never happen today, where they have this the one concert where all the minions of hell are there, and these fucking Ku Klux Klan guys walk in.
Dude, the Ku Klux Klan is there. Confucius is there.
I couldn't believe it when they walked in.
It's a weird party. What were they doing there?
It's like the heaven scene in Exorcist 3. There's just a bunch of random shit going on. Somebody went, was this all planned? And the director went, yeah.
It sure was.
It's almost like they just asked all their friends, hey, think of the most offensive thing you can wear, and we're going to have a party, but it's really for this movie we're shooting. So a couple of guys were like, hey, what about this? Perfect.
Well, they are the lords of the underworld, and technically the underworld is the bad guy, so that would make sense,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It totally fit, but it just caught me really off guard.
So this blood transfusion is a success, and God damn it, I keep saying Dracula. Harry Nilsson gets up,
and this is the part where they play "I Can't Live If Living Is Without You."
Yeah, I can't live without you. Yeah, you know the song. So he gets up and he's like Van Helsing. I got to go out there. I got to tell him that I'm not going to be their king. And he's like, are you fucking crazy? All right, go ahead, go do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like, oh, we could have just done that a while ago. He'll go, hey, I know you were all waiting for a king of the underworld. You're all fucking vicious monsters. I'm not the king of the underworld anymore. I'm just a dude. And then they tear him limb for limb, and Van Helsing and all was like, oh, that was fucking easy. Like, why didn't you do this 6 years ago?
I mean, that's basically what happens. But then we get like the end of Gremlins 2 when he fucking goes out there. He's like, look, I'm not gonna be the king. Fuck you. And they're like, what?
Well, they all start coming out. And the thing is, like, the costumes are really cheesy, but because the film is so grainy, there's also kind of a weird, like, dreamlike quality to them a little bit.
Yeah,
like, there
for
was
sure.
A lot of the imagery in this scene that I kind of liked because it felt like Fulci-esque almost. Like, it works on a dream logic. Even like when because they all attack Count Downe, and Brian pulls the fucking cord to the roof, and the sun comes in through this cross, and they put they just put a fucking like they just cut a cross out of a piece of paper and just put it over the camera.
We'll pull the curtain down and we'll fry them.
And everybody gets fried, and then they just drop skeleton puppets.
Oh, it's cool, man. I like it.
It's a cool shot because the ground is all foggy.
Yep.
There's bodies of monsters everywhere, and then periodically, like a skeleton will like fall past the camera. And I was like, that's kind of cool. Like. The movie definitely could have had more of that.
For sure.
Yeah.
You mentioned Fulci before, and I had in my notes, there's like a blink and you miss it scene of that fucking concert we were just talking about, but like fucking Dr. Freudstein is there. Like he's in the background.
Yes, exactly. He was hanging out. This is before Bob was born, before the little girl was born and all.
Oh, yeah, dude. There's a big painting on the wall, yeah.
I know something about a boy named Bob, but I'm not really sure where to place it.
Mommy. He's just walking around this fucking place, maybe.
Oh, God. They'd all be running. The second you hear that kid's voice.
Hey, Yogi, I'm coming around. Yogi Bear is a race car driver now? Like
Yogi, I don't know, or Yogi Berra? Who knows?
Could be. I want Days of Boo Boo. It's Days of Thunder, but only using Hanna-Barbera characters.
Didn't they do that with Wacky Races?
Oh, yeah.
You said Boo Boo, and now I'm thinking of Baby Bink from fucking Baby's Day Out in a race car chasing after these things. Boo Boo!
I told you how I tried to buy a dude who was a production manager on Baby's Day Out, came into the theater I used to have, and he was wearing a Baby's Day Out hat. And I offered him $200 cash American for that fucking hat, but he would not sell it to me, but he told me I could take a picture with it. So
I would love to have that, too.
Are you a big Baby's Day Out fan?
No, but I've never seen anything like that in my entire life. I'm like,
oh, yeah, it's pretty bizarre.
Why would you have, like, because I like weird, you know, we all like the same stuff. We like weird crap. But I was like, imagine that there's someone out there who has a Baby's Day Out hat and they wore it to see episode 7 in the theater. You know?
Okay. Under those circumstances, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah.
The day is saved, and Dracula is, or excuse me, fucking Son of Dracula is now a human, and Van Helsing hypnotizes Amber so that she forgets all of the monster stuff, but only remembers Harry Nilsson, and that she loves him. And then we find out that Van Helsing is, is fucking Merlin the whole time.
Yep.
So stupid, but okay.
What a twist.
Well, I had to make sure that Frankenstein came out with it in front of me, because I couldn't spy on him and hold him accountable. Because he knows that I'd watch him in the shower through my magic mirror.
And he does. He's like,
He sure does.
Lather up them bulls.
Oh, he doesn't use a washcloth. He just puts the soap right up his ass.
Baron von Strokenstein.
I think I'll stay a little longer to see the end of the show.
Crank the hogget is what the boys say. Here I go.
Have I ever told you my gay Racula story?
No.
No.
Is that the prequel or sequel to Sharkula?
It's a spiritual successor. It's like the Annabelle films. They're in the same universe.
Gotcha.
Yes, in 2004, I had written a screenplay with this dude I used to be friends with, and it got seen by a person. And the person was like, well, I have these contacts out here. We should go out and pitch this. So we went out and we had a meeting at Dimension Films back in the day before the Weinstein stuff all happened. So I spent a month out there hanging out in a writer's room with, like, when they were trying to reboot, like, fucking all those, remember when they rebooted like Prom Night and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was there when all that stuff was in preliminary before they went, oh, we're just going to give Halloween to Rob Zombie.
It was like 2009, right? Around there?
No, it was 2004.
Oh my God, was it that long ago?
They worked this a while ago. So the guy out there who was our kind of like our rep was like, well, what do you want to do while you're here? And I was like, well, I really want to go to the New Beverly because Quentin Tarantino had just bought it. And so he's like, yeah, we could do that. So we went one night and we saw Humongous and The Savage Seven as a double feature. And Larry Bishop was there, Joey Bishop's son.
Right.
He was in The Savage Seven. So we went to that and they're like, well, they're doing this other one, but they're not telling people what the second movie is. And I'm like, okay. So it was a gay porno movie called Gay Dracula. And actually the Cinema Snob reviewed it. And it's amazing. But the movie is about the Marquis de Suede fights a guy and turns him into Gay Dracula, Count Gay Dracula. And he comes back to modern day 1984 Los Angeles to kill the Marquis de Suede. And there's a bunch of dudes fucking. And I'm like, all right, cool, whatever. And then a dude who looks like 1984 Wayne Gretzky is like a bartender at this gay bar that's in the basement of a blood bank where dudes fuck. And I'm like, I don't think that's sanitary, but whatever.
No.
I'm not going to tell you how to live your life. So the only way to break the Marquis de Suede's power over him is to find true love. So he goes back to his like hot tub in Transylvania and fucks Wayne Gretzky, not the real Wayne Gretzky, but 1984 gay porn star Wayne Gretzky.
Casey Jones, right? Yes.
It could have been Brent Gretzky, Wayne Gretzky's lesser known brother. And then they're outside, and the ending of this movie made I stood up and clapped in the theater because the movie ends with Gay Dracula, the sun is coming up. Whatever will you do now? And he's like, the curse has been broken. Guess I'll work on my tan. And he smiles at the camera and winks, and it freeze frames on that. And I stood up in the theater and I started clapping. And everyone looked at me. So I was the king of the degenerates that night. And I'll never forget that moment as long as I fucking live. And then the dude who was our rep was like, oh, I'm really sorry I took you guys to a gay porn movie. I'm like, why? I'll have that story for the rest of my life.
Oh, and seeing it on a giant screen. Oh my goodness.
It was crazy. As soon as it came on what it was too, people started getting up and leaving. And I'm like, no, we're in this for the long haul, man.
Oh, you couldn't fucking tear me from that chair.
Let's see where this fucking elevator goes. Like,
sounds like a good double bill with fucking Blackula, dude. Yeah.
Oh, that'd have been a good one too. Yeah.
You know, getting turned into a Dracula a vampire against your own will, then popping up in a new decade to do whatever.
It's no succula, but we'll agree.
No.
Yeah. So that's my Gay Dracula story. So that's another one. I've always been looking for that movie poster, and I'm like, what would I even do with that? Like, I have a hard enough time explaining my domicile when women come over.
I don't think one more of those is going to hurt, especially Gay Dracula.
The first thing you see when you walk into my place is a massive framed Cannibal Holocaust poster. So it's just like, yeah, I'm that guy. I'm going to die alone and my cat's going to eat my eyeballs. So one day you guys will go, hey, remember that guy we had on the show that one time? Yeah, here's what fucking happened to him. He called it.
Look, I have a Munchie poster hanging up and I found true love. So it's possible.
Yeah.
That is impressive.
So we get this one final shot before the movie completely ends, and Merlin banishes Frankenstein into a fucking pool ball full of red, like the Wicked Witch fucking mist, and like I don't know, shoots him into the fucking universe. And he's just like what?
Because we're in space now.
Well, yeah, like a time rip opens, dude. He's got the Buchanan. That's what and he fucking throws him right out into space.
I thought he was doing like an extra thing where like.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying he's like Zaphod Beeblebrox. It's like he's got the heart of gold, but it's like whatever Merlin's equivalent to that. It's like he's just his wizard tower floating in space, fucking teleporting places.
There's a planet Amber now.
Yeah, Frankenstein needs to be born out of a human woman when he comes back. It's a whole thing.
And John Hurt says, absolutely.
Come on in, let's do it.
That's exactly how it happened when I met Mary Shelley.
Yes.
And fucked her.
A lot.
At this point, like, say that Frankenstein Unbound continued and John Hurt comes into the Back into the Future and tells everyone this, they just kill him, right? Like they take him out behind the chemical shed
right.
And they fucking put him out of his misery. They're like, yo, that dude clearly has syphilis and his brain is out. Mary Shelley gave me syphilis.
He's eternal, man. There is no killing him. You'll shoot him, but then another one will just come back somehow and be like,
he's like a weed. You pull one down, You pull one John Hurt up and another one springs in its place.
It grows 3 more, yeah. So, so Harry Nilsson goes out to Amber and holds her hand, and he can walk in the sunlight, and it's all happy day, and Merlin waves goodbye, and credits, and that's it.
And then the callback, they play Remember again.
And they're like, please remember this movie. Please remember this movie.
Remember to go buy the soundtrack at your local record store down the street.
I have to guess the record did better than the movie, right?
Oh, yeah. Like I said, Daybreak was a top 40 hit when it came out. So where are we putting this, fellas?
I think you got to put it on the shelf just for it's so fucking weird. You have to see it even if you're a rock music fan or a Hammer fan, like, it's one of those things, like, over the weekend, I saw that a snake shit on a casino floor. And I've never seen a snake shit before. And I'm like, isn't that fucking weird? Like, you're going to show this to somebody. And it's like,
isn't that Ringo Starr?
Yeah. It's like the cow with 2 heads in fucking Funhouse. You're like, look at it. Isn't it weird?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, this is definitely on the shelf for me. Again, like, I had never fucking heard of this. I haven't even heard of the soundtrack at all. And then you introduced me to this, and I was like, shit, we got to do this on the show. And it's now lovingly placed on the shelf with all the other weird oddball fucking movies like Deathbed, The Bed That Eats, like shit that shouldn't even be released. But somehow we have copies of them. It's a weird lost film. I think it's on YouTube if you guys want to see it. The copy that I have isn't much better than the one on YouTube because it's always a VHS rip, but I bought a DVD like from eBay to see if it was a better copy. Fuck it, why not? Now I have a physical copy of it.
I have the poster hanging in my kitchen.
There you go, dude.
It sits between the Blackula poster and the Legend of the Seven. The what's the fucking one? It's the 7 Golden Vampires.
Yeah, 7 Golden Vampires. Yeah, that's great, dude. Yeah, you should definitely see this at least once, and especially if you're like a Harry Nilsson fan, because there's some groovy tunes in this, and it's just a weird flick that you could definitely get some laughs out of if you have some people over and you fucking light up a couple Jaybirds, hit some fucking Brew Boys. I mean, it's a good time for sure.
Yeah, this is a movie I would, in most other cases, say dumpster immediately. But I actually kind of like this in a weird way, like. It's definitely one of those. It's definitely one of those ones that's gonna have like probably if I had to give it a star rating, like probably a 2.
Yeah,
2 out of 5.
Yeah.
But it has entertainment value. The music's good. It's something just to behold as you're watching it. Just one wacky thing after another. It's definitely shelf material for sure. You got to see this movie, and it would be cool to eventually see some kind of high quality rip of this movie down the road. I don't know if that's ever going to be on the table. It might not ever happen.
Anybody who's still alive, like explaining, like just why.
Yeah,
Ringo would have to, dude.
Yeah.
And I don't know who else would even cover something like this besides us. So there's that.
That's what we're here for, man.
Yeah. And I just have to throw this out there quickly is, Joe, you're the guy that I've known for years that has brought this kind of shit to me, and you are now the other guy that is bringing me this kind of shit, like Lady Terminator.
Every morning, Sean comes into the office, and I drop some new thing on him, and he's like, I've never heard of that.
Now he's got it from both sides.
Yeah.
Poor guy.
Well, I might not always like this kind of stuff, but this one landed, and it helps that Ringo's in there being fucking Merlin.
Yeah, for sure.
Flying around the universe in the MDU.
Playing Magic Pool.
Yeah, playing Magic Pool. I want to play that. Yeah, I want to play some Magic Pool. So yeah, dude. Now where can everybody find you and what you're working on?
Just go to Hack the Movies on YouTube, or you can find me on Twitter at Still Newt Wallen and keep up with all the stuff that we're doing. We're gonna be making a Sharkula movie soon, and I've got a fucking vampire movie that I wrote for these guys in Kansas City coming out that has Felicia Rose in it and Dave Sheridan. I wrote a haunted pool toy movie for a guy in Alabama that starts shooting in June called Floaters. And white people, they had a dimensional portal in the backyard they didn't want anymore, so they built an in-ground pool over it, thinking that would solve the problem. And instead, it just turned all the pool toys into monsters. I don't do drugs, but I should start. So yeah, and then you could just find me on Hack the Movies and with Tony and with Sean and with Joe, and we do things.
For sure, man. That's awesome. Oh, yeah. And speaking of Hack the Movies, make sure you go check out that Annabelle commentary track that Sean and I did with Tony. It's on our Patreon. It's on the Hack the Movies Patreon. And again, if you're signed up for one and not the other, go sign up for it. And if you're not signed up for either, sign up for both. Support your favorite shows. Please. We need the money to keep it going.
Give us that 5-star review over on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to this.
Absolutely free as well. You could do that. No money at all.
And if you got the time, drop us a few words, write us a review. That also helps us get out of the bottom of the dumpster and into more eardrums, like I always say at the end of each episode.
Talk about how I'm the best guest you guys have ever had. You know, this is the funniest episode.
Yeah, tell everybody that you want more Newt, you want more Newt, right? That's how we get famous.
Exactly.
That's how we get the clicks. But yeah, definitely go sign up for that Patreon. And if you missed, we did a watch along of Jigsaw. No, not the Tobin Bell Saw movie. The Full Moon Features 90s movie Jigsaw. Yeah, you can go rewatch that over on the Patreon as well. Because if you didn't sign up, you didn't watch it live. That's for sure. So definitely go watch that replay.
It was a hell of a movie, let me tell you.
It sure was. Also, check out that ripe review of Spiral from the Book of Saw. See what we thought of that.
Thanks for listening. We always love to thank our listeners, especially our patrons. And we'd like to give a shout out to Hunter Davenport, Brendan Lemune, The Autistic Gamer 89, Christopher, Jacob Chavez, Leonardo Roberto Talavera Barocio,
Count Gorlami.
Yeah. Where you open up the coffin and there's just some fucking gorgonzola there waiting for you.
Oh, it's a plate of pasta.
Yeah. Amanda Tweed, Joe Has a Mustache, Dustin Elkins, Nick Lowry, Serge Murillo, Matt Collins, Lucio Fulci's Butt, Julie Lockwood, Kyle McDonald, Nicholas Walters, Daniel Perhaps, Jacob Fonsbeck, Patrick Farmer, Tony from Hack the Movies, CB Smith, Arlen Haro, John, Jenna Fryer, CJ Duke, Norman Mata, La Brandita Senorita Rico, Matt Lasky, Ken Smith, Dustin Connor, Dave Lake, Dave Lockwood, Brian Barria, Russell Duvall, and Anton Rickard. Thank you all so much for your support.
We are going to have to start truncating this, dude. That is a lot of folks. We really appreciate it. Don't get me wrong. We love you all so much, and thank you for your patronages and supporting the show. But we got to do a little, thank you, patrons in general. It's finally hit that.
It might be getting sent to pasture soon, but enjoy it while it lasts.
You're on a lot of episodes, that's for damn sure.
Yeah, you're going to get sent to pasture like Grandma in the Hug-a-Bunch. Goodbye.
So that's it. That's Son of Dracula from 1974, directed by Freddie Francis.
If you want some more good, bad, and god-awful movie goodness, head over to MovieDumpsterPodcast.com and follow us on all of your favorite social media and streaming platforms.
You can also head on over to our Patreon page and sign up for the $2, $5, or $10 tiers for monthly exclusive content, or drop by our merch store and grab yourself some non-committal swag.
Yeah, and for no money at all, you can leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts to support your favorite show. I'm Joe Lascola.
I'm Sean O'Rourke.
And I'm Newt Wallen.
Thanks for visiting the dumpster.